Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to And Academy's Interior Design webinar. I am Shubhangi and I'm part of the branding and communications team here at And. I'll be moderating this session today. The webinar today is led by our course manager, Tavleen. But before we dive right into the presentation, I want to quickly talk about what is it that we do here at And where do we come from and why do we do what do we do. So And Academy is a one-of-a-kind design upskilling platform launched by the Indian Institute of Art and Design, New Delhi, which is a brick and mortar design school based in Delhi. And the institution, that is IIAD, was established in collaboration with Kingston School of Art, London. So we actually come from the design pedigree of IIAD, who have been imparting design education since 2015. So we are backed by a decade of experience in design education. And we here at AND offer professional design courses for graduates and working professionals in the domains of UX UI design, graphic design, and interior design, which is what we will be talking about today. Our goal here at AND is to make design education accessible, affordable, and industry relevant so that we can enable successful career transformations. All of our courses are delivered in a live interactive method. So there's no sort of passive learning where the instructor or a mentor is speaking and then you're just like passively listening. It's very hands-on learning. It's very interactive learning. And we combine expert mentorship, practical training, and industry exposure to guide you towards a better future in the industry. All of our courses are also delivered by practicing designers who are working in the design industry and are also teaching. So you always get knowledge from people who are part of the industry. So you also get relevant and up-to-date knowledge about design, whichever domain that is that you're picking. And we offer courses that are stackable. So you begin from the very fundamentals of a certificate course, and then you can choose to go on for a diploma, and then you can build your expertise into the next step of the course, that is the diploma course. How our courses are also are stackable. You can also pay the fee in a very stackable manner as and when you choose to go further. Yeah, that's about it. And with that, I hand over to Tavleen. But before I do that, I would like to say a few words to introduce Tavleen. Tavleen is an interior architect and she's graduated. Tavleen is a certified interior architect and educator and design scholar with substantial industry experience. She's worked on various interior architecture projects with organizations like Studio AVT Architects, Gyanpi Mathur and Associates, Dhun Life and Studio Sara. She's a graduate of Maharishi Dayanand University, Rohtak, and also holds a master's degree in interior architecture from Sushant School of Art and Architecture, Gurgaon. There's a certain format to this webinar. We will look at Tavleen's presentation first and then take the Q&A at the end of this session. But if you have any questions while Tavleen is going on talking about her presentation, you can put your questions in the Q&A box, which you'll see at the bottom of your screen. I recommend that you use the Q&A box so that we can answer all of your questions systematically at the end of this presentation. Over to you, Tavleen.
Thank you, Shubhangi. And yes, welcome everybody. Good evening to the AND Interior Design webinar. So as we have it on our screen that what all we will cover. So we'll start with knowing what is interior design, right? So whenever we talk about interior design, the first thing that comes to my mind is it is to deal with transforming space. Yeah. Transforming spaces through design. Yeah. And of course, when we are talking about transforming spaces, we also have to talk about who are we transforming spaces for. So that means we are dealing with a lot of humans or the users of the space. So that means when you're designing a space and when you are called an interior designer, you deal with actually humans as well as space. Yeah, so we say that there's a symbiotic relationship between human and the environment. So to be able to make that experience better, to be able to make that relationship better, we design spaces. Yeah. And, as we say that each and every line, whatever drawings that we make or whatever, however we resemble our design. So each and every square foot has to be tackled for. So each and every line on a plan or each and every thing on a design means something. Yeah. So that's why we say that we are here to be able to create aesthetically pleasing and functional spaces. Yeah. So interior designers can visualize, they can plan, and this journey goes through by ideation, experimentation, and application. Moving on. So this is a very common question, and this is a very common, difference that people are not aware of. So I think it's a nice idea to start this journey and making you understand that what is interior design and what is the difference between interior design, interior styling, and interior decoration. Yeah. So interior design not only just, deals with the aesthetic appeal of the space, it also deals with the art and science of actually understanding how a user is going to behave in a space. To be able to map that and to be able to create solutions for that is something that an interior design does. Yeah. But as far as interior styling is, based, so it is involved with, just maybe not disturbing the core structure of a space, but yeah, you can alter some, bits of here and there, moving the furniture and adding some, maybe styling elements to the space so that, some additions, some subtractions, or some, additions to the space which should help you style the space better. And of course, interior decoration is basically just making a space more beautiful. Yeah. So an interior designer can do interior styling as well as interior decoration, but it is not the other way around. Yeah. An interior stylist cannot be called as an interior designer. And of course, it holds the same for an interior decorator also. Yeah. So if you are studying interior design, if you are an interior designer, you can be an interior stylist also and a decorator also. Yeah. So and we say that an interior designer has to deal with understanding the principles of design. And that's why we say that yes, design is always greater than software. Yeah. So many people come and think that okay, if we learn a particular 3D software, that means we have become a designer. But that's not it. An interior designer wears a lot of hats. So what are these hats that you are wearing? So an interior designer is a researcher. An interior designer can think. It involves logical as well as being imaginative about a space, a great observer of the space, what's happening around you. Yeah. So that means you have to be a planner too. So you have to be able to observe things around you, and you have to see that, okay, are you able to plan things? Are you able to, implement them in terms of the research that you have done? And of course, you're going to make all these things together, right? And an interior designer or a designer per se is always a learner. Yeah. So moving ahead, what are the skills that an interior designer must know? Yeah, it is not just limited to just dealing with designing. Of course, we are here to understand what visual design is so that we are able to convert our ideas into visual representation, to know how do you actually use the right colors, to be able to compose things together, to be able to actually, create things in a manner that you are able to satisfy the users of this space. If you're able to actually understand the needs of the space, that is when you'll be able to satisfy the needs, or understand first and then satisfy them. Yeah. So in this journey, there's a design process that happens. So yeah, it involves developing certain ideas, and those ideas, when when you're developing or generating those ideas, then how do you actually bring up those solutions for generating them? So it's a journey between the idea creation to idea generation and idea implementation. Yeah. So you are here to develop, you're here to generate, and you're here to give solutions. Then, of course, how will you be able to do this? By the support of tech. So yeah, you have to learn a software so that you can actually see yourself visually, how is your idea looking like. And similarly, you are able to convince your client also on the basis of this, that, okay, this is what you were thinking, maybe of a color or of, certain elements come up together. This is how they look like. So yes, a design software is something that you need to learn. Yeah. And what if you have done all of this, but you're not able to communicate effectively the entire process? So effective communication is something that really plays a major role in entire process of actually creating the design process, being in that journey of creating and then delivering it. Yeah. So yes, a designer must know all of these things. Moving ahead, what is the future of interior design? And when you have done when you have learned interior designing, then what all kind of projects can you work on? Yeah. So let's look into those projects now. Yeah. So yes, of course, home interiors is something that we can always look into. That these days everybody wants to. Generally, people keep renovating their houses. Yeah, so interior designers always are called upon so that you can provide your unique solutions to make their space lively, to make their space trendy, and to make their space up to the market trends that are happening right now. And apart from the renovation of home interiors, we can also work on cafes and restaurants. Yeah. So these days there's this trend of theme cafes. So yeah, this is where you can actually convert your ideas into visual representation and have your clients based on these areas who want to actually renovate or start their own cafes or restaurants, or they want to add certain artistic elements to there. So yeah, this is where an interior designer plays a major role. Apart from that, of course, there are these waiting lobbies in the hospitality sector, or there are certain interesting cafeterias, or in the hospitality sector, basically, the lobbies, the reception, wherever you enter into, these are the spaces that everybody wants to be very attractive, and they want to spend some money in making these look aesthetically pleasing so that everybody comes in their space. So yeah, this is where an interior designer can work. And of course, after COVID, before COVID, we always have had offices, but now we also have co-working spaces. So everybody wants their office space to be lively. Everybody wants their office space to be interesting so that, you have that mood set. So yes, this is a great opportunity where an interior designer can actually, invest their hands into. And of course the retail sector. So retail, as per the temporary, the permanent retail sector, both holds this opportunity of setting up their spaces, as well as some pop-up stores that we see during just strolling inside the mall. These spaces are some certain things that an interior designer can design. Then, of course, the store window display places where a brand wants to be highlighted so that, it catches the attention of people walking by. So yeah, it is a good opportunity to be able to design this. And these days, e-commerce websites are also opened up so that, you can provide your designs on, web, and they can actually customize your designs, and you can actually get your clients or online, over online. Yeah. These are certain examples of how exhibitions are set, and for a temporary basis, you really want, some brands really hire interior designers so that their sections looks the prettiest, or their section looks the most aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, so these are areas where you can give your inputs in and you can get projects on. So there are different brands in materials, and there are certain different brands who want to actually hire and make their section look the best. Yeah, similar options of stores who are selling certain accessories and interior work. So they want their setup to be set in a manner so that they can actually replicate what you want to actually deliver in the proper house. So yeah, these are certain stores who want to hire interior designers for the same. Now, when we have gone through what all an interior designer can do, it is very important to know what an interior designer does not do or cannot do. Yeah. So anything related to structure, or anything which deals with either involves the actually the structure or the core of the building. So for example, the columns, the walls, the windows, this is something that, you cannot, you cannot do it without considering or taking the advice from either the civil engineers or the structure engineers or the architects. Yeah. So if you need to really, just you as per your design, you really wanted to dismantle a wall, or you wanted to add a window, so you'll have to consider, consulting either the designer of the space, the architect of the space, the civil engineer of the space, or the structure engineer of the space, so that you are actually you know whether this particular wall that you were planning to dismantle, is it a structured load bearing wall or not. So in that cases, you really have to be very careful, because if you take that step without consulting either of the three, either the architect or the civil engineer or the structure engineer, then it might hamper the entire structure of the space. So yeah, you'll have to consider in the such cases. And of course, apart from that, any changes you're doing to the electrical plan or the plumbing, right? So that also has to be considered before doing any changes. You'll have to see. And to be able to actually consider those changes, you'll have to actually have a word with the structure engineer of that department or that space, wherever you are designing. So basically, whatever is in the inside of the structure, it is something that you can easily go on. But anything related to structure is something that you cannot just take a decision on. Yeah. So moving ahead, what skills and knowledge set does an interior designer need? Yeah. So let's look upon that. Yeah, so there are certain things that really we need to. So on a daily basis, an interior designer is dealing with a client, right? So when you're dealing with a client, you really have to know that what is it that the client wants from the space. Yeah. So it is very important to understand about the client as well as understand about the space. Yeah. So these two have to be really best friends with you. Yeah. So understanding a client brief is something very important, so that you're able to understand and bifurcate that, okay, my client is saying these many things that they want into the space. So what are the functional needs and what are the emotional needs of the user, so that you're able to fulfill both of them. You are able to bifurcate them and you're able to fulfill them. Yeah. So a detailed conversation with the client about what do you want out of this space. Yeah. And then detailed, analysis of the space. So you should know how the space is and what all changes you can do after that. So of course, detailed analysis of the user as well as detailed analysis of the space is something that is required. And this involves the space understanding of the spatial planning. Yeah. Then you should be able to create certain visual themes, so that, in the very initial meetings with your client, you're able to deliver that, and you're able to actually convince the client that, okay, this is something that you can, you are somebody who can make the space interesting for them. Yeah. And that's why they can hire you for the same. Yeah. So of course, visualizing themes and creating certain ideas for that space after understanding what the client wants or what the space is about, and then to be able to create certain layouts. Yeah. And then to be able to work on them. Then to be able to actually incorporate the selecting of materials and the fixtures, how the furniture is going to look like, how the small elements in the space are going to look like. So all of this you have the opportunity to design and select. Yeah. So of course it also involves the detailed layouting and dimensioning of the space. Yeah. So you'll be able to actually you'll have to actually go on the side and measure everything together, and you'll be able to convert that into a software, and then understand, okay, this is how my client wanted and this is how I can make this space interesting. Yeah. So in this process, you will have to, develop certain technical drawings also, so that you are able to get them executed on site. Yeah. And this will also involve a lot of collaboration and a lot of coordination with a lot of vendors, so that you're able to get those materials that you have finalized for the design and then get them executed. So this is where the idea which you had generated, the process that you have created, and then when you see that, okay, this is how my visual representation looks like, but this is how it has been executed. So the entire journey requires a lot of preparing of BOQs, which is bill of quantities, and considering the costing also. Yeah. So yes, all these things will be required as a skill set or a toolkit for yourself as an interior designer. Yeah. Then, moving ahead, now I would like to showcase, and I think this is something which is very interesting, and I really feel proud when our students have done all of this work. So this is where I'll show you that there are two softwares where you work, like, right? So of course, it is Kuhum and AutoCAD. If you are, so I'll be talking about these softwares more about in detail in the following slides. But yeah, let's see how our students work. So where we work on a app which is known as Miro, where all their worksheets. So this is like a workspace where so this is how it looks like. Yeah. So this is where the students can also work, and this is where we all can see each other's work. Yeah. So this is a Miro app which we work on or which we use. So we start with the first module, which is the fundamentals of design. Yeah. So this is all certain student work that we have showcased here. So we start from the very scratch, where we start from the basics of learning how a dot and line function. Yeah. And then we start converting these, 2D compositions into 3D and understand that, okay, if we add height to the space, then how is the volumetric composition looking like? Yeah. So then we move ahead and understand the elements of design, the principles of design through some fun activities within the class. Yeah. And then we go ahead and understand, okay, how do we actually divide our space into various zones, and how do we actually map these things? Yeah. And then we understand how does the ergonomics and anthropometry, which is understanding of the human scale and the scale of the space, how do we deal with them, and how do we understand them to be able to design spaces better? Yeah. And we also understand how does color, light, and texture have an impact. So all this is done by some fun activities that we keep doing within the these are all our live sessions that happen. And in the first module itself, we also teach you a software which is known as Kuhum, which really helps you convert your actual so we give you an exercise where we actually try to convert our exact room into the software. Yeah. So this is where you can see that, okay, this is how I am into this room, and this is how this can look in the software. Yeah. So this is the software which will help you convert your ideas into visual representation. Then we move ahead to understanding the second module, which is so all this, the fundamentals of design was to be able to give you a knowledge set, a skill set, so that you are able to apply that into the second module, which is the residential project. Yeah. So what happens in this residential project is that we start with a demo client. Yeah. We start understanding that, okay, if these are our clients, what are the needs? How are we going to understand that, okay, these are the areas that they want to change, and these are the, requirements, and these are the options and details that we are also going to give. And we, again and again keeps looking at what all actions can be taken to be able to provide these, the clients the best solution for their requirements. Yeah. So the journey goes ahead, and we keep this is a step-by-step journey that our student takes here. And what happens is that we keep creating certain trigger questions. So this is like a live hands-on project that we are doing. We are finding our own client, and we are actually dealing with them on a weekly basis. And all this step up activities are done within the class. Yeah. And of course, we give you a lot of homework in between also, so that you are able to cope up with the design process of this entire journey of understanding how do you actually deal with this process. Yeah. So yeah, there are certain questions that we prepared together. So what are the questions that you would want to ask your client in the next meeting? And then we go ahead and understand, okay, further dig into how are we bifurcating the functional and emotional needs of the client? How are we going to deliver, and how are our spaces going to look like? Then we keep developing certain options for them in the terms of layouts, in the terms of how do we add colors, how do we add materials into the space, how do we add certain finishes to the space, and how do these come together and look like? Yeah. So all these things are done in the residential project. And we also help you prepare a call out sheet, which is like, prepare a list of all these items that you have used in the space, and give the exact areas of where are we using this, and to be able to give the exact quantities also. Yeah. So those of us who choose to be in the certificate process with us or the certificate course with us, this is what is done. And then you can choose to exit with the certificate itself. But those of you who are keen to learn with us further, then what we do is we enter into the third module, which is understanding about construction. Yeah, so we move ahead and understand that, okay, how is the construction of walls, how is the construction of ceilings, and how is the construction of floors done? How is, how are these doors and windows actually put on site? And how do, how can they have an impact on the overall space, and how do we choose to do that, certain small uh, steps that we take into the design. So how do we understand that, okay, how are these constructed? What are the small details that we look into when we are actually, installing a door inside our space, or we are considering a particular flooring, or we are considering a particular, wall finish, or we are considering certain things on the ceiling. Yeah. So how are these done in the, our space? And again, we do everything via activities. So yeah, these are certain activities that our students have done on the construction, in the construction lectures. Yeah. Apart from this, we also understand that, okay, in the third module, we are also being friends with AutoCAD, which is another software which we teach you in the third module. So AutoCAD is a software which really helps you convert your plans into, basically those plans which can be actually executed on site. So we use this term, which is known as good for construction drawings. So that is something that we are able to convert into we are able to make them, or we are able to create them in this software, which is known as AutoCAD. Yeah. So apart from that, we also start with, our module 4, which is actually converting a brand into a commercial project. So we start researching about a brand in the third module itself, and then we move ahead and start, actually and understanding the site where we are going to work on for this commercial project. Then we do the mapping of that site again. Then we understand, okay, what is the proximity that we are designing this in? And we parallelly in the third module, we were understanding about the brand. What is the vision of this brand? What is the mission of this brand? Why would this brand want to convert into a commercial space? So this is something we keep, understanding or researching about in the third module. And then finally, this research gets converted into a commercial project, which is in the fourth module, which is known as the commercial project. Yeah. So this is our student Pratyusha's work that I'm just, moving through. So this was a research that she had done. Her brand was Himalayas. And, this was the step that we understood that, okay, how are we understanding the brand? What is the value? What is the personality? What is the position and target audience of this brand in the market? And then we move ahead with this journey of understanding the brand and then converting this brand into a cafe. Yeah. So she went ahead and created certain mood boards for the same. And then she converted this into the software. And then she was trying to actually create certain layouts. And at each step, we keep, actually questioning ourselves through this SWOT analysis that, okay, if I have prepared certain thing, or I have prepared this particular layout, so what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities and threats in this if I choose to do this? So this is something we keep discussing within the, the sessions that we meet in. That, okay, if you have prepared this, the students have prepared this. So this is how we are going to move forward, or this is what is good in this plan, and this is what is not working very well. So this is something that we can sort. So a group of peers come together, they also showcase your work, you learn from them, and we keep looking into each other's work so that we're able to get maximum exposure to whatever other people are also doing, so that in future, if we also get into such a situation where you get to design certain space which was similar to some of your peers, then you also know that, okay, how do you deal with this? Yeah. So that is the idea of actually introducing this concept of peer learning and actually helping each other. And this also helps to understand our peers together. And yeah, so we move ahead with this journey. And again, we are creating these, renders on our software, which is known as Kahum, which we already learned in the first module. Yeah, so these are certain examples of how this brand got converted into a commercial space. Then we move ahead and create certain, layouts on the software AutoCAD also. Yeah. And then these are the call out sheets that we prepare for the similar, project of ours. And we move ahead and also understand that how is the costing going to work like, yeah, in this fourth module, which is understanding the commercial project. Yeah. So this is how we work in the Miro. Now, for a certificate example or for the residential example, I also like to showcase one of the students' work, Gautam, who has compiled this entire journey of his residential project into a presentation. So his project was named as Cocoon because he wanted to name his project like that. And yeah, so this is how the entire compilation of a residential project was done. So I'll just move quickly. Yeah, so this is where, we are able to showcase that, okay, these are the spaces where we were working on. And then this is the existing site images of the space. And then how is he going to take his journey forward in terms of understanding that, okay, how is he going to change the space or transform it? Yeah, so this is how he came up to one option. These were some other options, certain lighting options, material options, the elevations, how your walls are going to look like from the side or how your side views are going to look like, and the details of each and everything. And again, the call out sheets. So this was how it looked like before. And this was the final renders. These were the final renders of the space. So of course, we also introduce, we work on two things. We work on the bedroom as well as the attached washroom or the nearest washroom to the space. So this is how his washroom looked like. So again, certain material, color options he provided for the washroom itself. Yeah, again, the call out sheets for the same. So this was how it originally looked like, and this is how he is going to transform the space. Yeah, and this is how he got the client review. So yeah, then moving back to our presentation. So when you learn interior design with And Academy, what are we doing here? So, anybody coming in from any background can come here and learn. Yeah. How do we actually say that with all that confidence in us that, we start with the very scratch or we start from the fundamentals of design. So we say that, okay, anybody coming in from any background can come in. And since we are starting from the very basics, that's why it is not important that you're coming in from a design background or you're coming in from a parallel field. But anybody, either a housewife or somebody from a finance background, somebody from a medical background can come in and start with us the journey of learning interior design. Yeah, of course, I would really like to highlight this because, this is a question that keeps coming up that, okay, are we going to teach this software, this particular software or that particular software? But here, of course, we are taking the help of certain softwares, but this aim is to actually teach you beyond the software, to be able to make you understand that what is the design process that is involved. Yeah. And for this, we have certain, industry practitioners who are coming in and giving you some mentoring on the basis of what they are doing on field and what is happening on site. Yeah. So they are going to share their experience with you. There are certain, and with a lot of experience, they are going to share their experience with you and they are going to tell you that, okay, this is something that worked for them. This is something that did not work for them. And of course, on your work, whatever you do, so, we say that design is always about learn by doing. Yeah. So this is a concept that we introduced that design can be learned only by doing. Yeah. So whenever you present your work with us, then there are certain faculty coming in, either the regular faculty that teach you, or we call some external faculty who are giving you regular feedback on the work that you have done, so that you're able to improve on the basis of the experience that they have. Yeah. And then which actually helps you be industry ready. Yeah. So as we mentioned, that we learn by doing, and these are very live sessions. So what happens is that, of course, this might seem as a monologue because I've been speaking for a long time right now, but this is not what happens in our classes. What happens is that, of course, a concept is introduced to you in a class, and then we always have an activity around it. So we give you a lot of opportunities to be able to interact within the when the concept is also getting introduced. So that means that these are very interactive sessions. The more you interact, the more you'll be able to grasp from the course. Yeah. And of course, as I mentioned earlier also, that we keep giving you feedback, either the faculty or the peers also. So there are certain mentors who are coming in, and you get an opportunity of actually, giving or helping your peers also. So that, whatever you feel is something that can be done in their project. So we give you an opportunity within the class to be able to give each other feedback also. Yeah. So that's how we make our classes very interactive and live. And as we say that, okay, these are not just, certain recordings that we share. We are here live with you, and we are incorporating every lecture, every concept as as a fresh lesson for this particular session. Yeah. And of course, as Shubhangi also mentioned in the very beginning, that our courses here are very stackable in nature. So that means, if you can start your journey with the certificate course, and if you feel like that, okay, I really want to take this journey forward, then you can after you can decide that, okay, I want to proceed with my journey. So you can move ahead with the diploma course also with us. Yeah. And then now, this is on your screen that I was talking about, that yes, we have the certificate course, which is 18 weeks long. So it will include two modules, which is the fundamentals of interior design and the residential project. Yeah. And then those who choose to exit from this at this particular stage can exit. But those of us who really want to take our journey forward can come with us and continue a journey of 18 plus 16 weeks. Yeah. So, of course, anybody who's coming in for the diploma course has to complete the certificate course and then take their journey forward of understanding how, construction works, how we understand to make good for construction drawings through the help of CAD software, AutoCAD, and understanding the brand. Yeah. So, that journey of brand then gets converted into a commercial project, and we have classes in the evening, which are, and that's why we say that, okay, this is a part-time course. So in the morning you can work, and then in the evening you can learn. And we meet twice a week. But this 6 hours with us doesn't mean that, okay, that's it. You'll have to give in a lot of time as self-study also. So minimum of 6 hours of self-study every week is required. So, as I always keep telling anybody who's coming in for the interview also, that, we give you a lot of classwork as well as we give you a lot of homework. Yeah. So be prepared. If you're coming in for the course, you'll have to work on a lot of assignments within the class and after the class also. Yeah. Okay. Moving ahead. So I'm really happy to share with you. This is the team that works, and we have certain, industry experts and some people who are very experienced within the field. So yeah, we have people from SPA Delhi, we have people from Maharishi Dyanand University, we have people from Sushant University, we have people from various, renowned institutes. And these people are also practicing, these people are also teaching. So they have a lot of experience with us. Yeah. So we have, of course, our course lead Rahat, who has been she has been the root, and she has been the person who has designed the entire course. And with the help of a lot of industry experts like Snehanshu sir, Madhu ma'am, and we also have Rashim, she is the Avastu expert with us. And we have certain people who are material experts. So Pankaj sir is also a material expert, and myself. So yeah, this is the team. And of course, we also keep meeting other people who are not here on the screen. And when you start the journey with us, you'll see that, okay, this is the big team that you're working with and that you're getting feedback from. Yeah. So we keep meeting and we have certain, master classes from industry experts, some senior people who are coming in. Yeah. So you'll keep meeting us here and there. And 90 years of combined industry experience is something that has been able to create this entire course and for interior designers. Yeah, to be able to say that, okay, anybody who's coming in from the field, we are either mostly we are a bunch of architects who have actually invested at least 5 years of bachelor's and 2 years of master's and a lot of work experience also in the industry. So yeah, we are coming in from a lot of experience here, and we are coming and we are teaching you with our experience. Yeah. And now this is a very great opportunity to share that, okay, these were certain, these are all people who have actually graduated from here, and they started their journey from a different, they actually got their career transformed. So some of them were actually coming in from corporates and they really wanted to, introduce themselves to this interior design setup. So they wanted to start their own journey. They wanted to start their own setup. They wanted to start their own business. So they came here. Akriti is one of them. Jalidi is one of them. Nandini is one of them. Pavanjot has already started his firm. And Tushar was a student here, and he was really, keen on continuing his practice of continuing his education of finance as well as design. So he parallelly learned with us, and now he also is working on a few projects for his clients. And similar to Aditi was also one of those who started, the journey with us when she was a student, and now she's also running her own practice. So yeah, this is a proud moment where we say that, okay, these all people were there with us, and they have actually transformed their careers. Yeah. Moving ahead, what else do we help you in preparing? Yeah. So as I mentioned, that there are a lot of reviews that happen, there are a lot of assessments that happen, and there are a lot of assignments that we give you. So ultimately, all this gets collated into a presentation. Yeah. So you get an opportunity to prepare the presentations, and you get the opportunity to deliver them. Yeah. And then we also offer you these career development sessions, which are generally on the Saturdays, which, some experts from the industry come in and they keep guiding you on how can you actually guide yourself or take this journey of your design journey forward. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it is. And now, I think I've spoken a lot. But yes, generally what happens is that our classes are 7 to 10 p.m. in the evening, and we meet generally again on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays and Thursdays, my bad. Yeah. And the fee structure and everything is on the screen. Apart from interior design, we also offer graphic design and UX UI design at And Academy. And now, I think, yes, we are open for questions. And over to you, Shubhangi.
Thank you, Tavleen, for your wonderful presentation. It's very insightful, and I hope everybody's gotten something to learn from here. So I can see that some questions are already flowing in. I would just like to reiterate that if you have any questions, I request you to put it in the Q&A box. I see that some of you have put it in the chat. I request you to please direct your questions in the Q&A box. We're also joined by our COO, Mr. Chirag Mehta, for the Q&A. So let's begin. Lydia has a question. Will we get an opportunity to work for any client on real world projects? One or two projects in the end will help a lot to take confident steps in the real world, is what Lydia is asking. What do you have to share on that, Tavleen?
Yeah. So yes, as I mentioned that in the second module where we are working on the residential project, this is a time when you are actually getting an opportunity to apply all the fundamental knowledge where you are supposed to find your own client, and we are working for a real life client. Yes. So within the this second module itself, you're going to explore that journey of working with a real life client, which you choose for yourself.
So I hope that answers your question, Lydia. Not only that, the problems that are given to you in these classes are also they also emulate like real life challenges so that you can, when you step into the interior design realm, then you can hit the ground running. So yeah. Somebody is asking, do you teach softwares that we use? Their connection broke, so they've missed that part. Tavleen, do you want to take that?
Yes. So, yeah, I think I've covered, but yeah, I still repeat. So what happens is that in the certificate course, we cover Kuhum as a software, which will help you create 3D visuals, renders. Yeah. And in the third module, if you choose to take your journey forward with us in the diploma course, then we also teach you AutoCAD as a software.
Somebody is asking, what is the general batch strength? What would that be, Tavleen?
Yeah, so we have around 35 to 40 people. Yeah. And
Yeah,
of
I
course,
would,
yeah,
yeah, 30 would be an upper limit.
yeah.
So somebody's asking, are the classes online or in person? So all the classes, all of our courses are delivered through a live online method. So all classes will be online. Moving on. Somebody's saying, can you tell us something more about how to start your own business as an interior designer? I would request Chirag sir to take that question.
So, hello everyone. Hi, Shvangi. Uh, that is actually outside of my area of expertise, Shvangi. So, we have a dedicated career services division at and guys who are very well equipped to guide you with this. Unfortunately, nobody from that team could make it to this webinar. But Tavleen, would you have any tips that you could share that the career service team could maybe build on?
Yeah, so as you rightly mentioned that of course we really guide you on the same, but yeah, the tip that I would like to share would be that, uh, the first step is always to understand how the basics work. And then when we give you this opportunity of actually interacting with the client, then you get, when I said that, okay, we are focusing more on the design process, that means you'll be able to take up projects in future, right? So here we are actually making you industry relevant. So how are we making it? Because we are giving you an opportunity to understand that how the design process works here, and that will help you, actually take this learning forward and start up your own thing. So yeah, I think here we are able to give you a tool set, a skill set here, so that you get a hands-on experience, and within the mentorship of faculty here, and of course then you can start your own journey. And this is how our students from the previous batches have also done. So yeah, this is something that we have already done. So you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to create your own setup, or you'll be able to start your own business.
Wonderful. Thanks, Tavleen. Gauri is asking, do we need to have prior knowledge or of basics of interior design?
Of course,
Tavleen,
if you have
yeah.
it, if you have that skill set, it will be great. But even if you don't have, then don't worry. As I mentioned, that we start from the very scratch. Yeah. So we start from the fundamentals, which will help you actually have that knowledge, and then you'll be able to apply that knowledge also. So yeah.
Okay, do we have any more questions? If we have any more questions, I request. Okay, Ekta has put in a question. Ekta is saying, I have studied interior design previously, 15 years back, but I was not provided any knowledge regarding the building construction or like detailing and other technical details. And for personal reasons, I couldn't look into getting into the field. So would you have any short courses just on those subjects?
Okay. So yeah. So what happens, like as I like, when if you're joining in for the diploma course, we do have certain lectures on how does the construction of walls, ceilings, and door and window, basic knowledge on construction. But if you're really looking into the understanding of the structural core of a building, then interior design is not the right platform. You'll have to understand, either architecture or civil engineering is something that really deals with the details of understanding a structure. So as an interior designer, that is not that we are going to teach you on the details of understanding the structure. But yeah, basic knowledge on if you really want to, just eliminate certain things or add certain windows here and there, that is something that we can teach you on how do you deal with it. But actually incorporating the structure is something that we are not going to cover in the interior design aspect. Yeah.
So Ekta is saying that she doesn't want to get into architecture. So Tavleen has already mentioned that I was okay. She's only talking from a design point of view, as we need to look into space planning, is what she's saying.
Yeah, so that basic knowledge we'll be providing of structure, how do you deal with it? That is something that we cover. We also have a master class on that. Yeah, so we do that.
Okay, wonderful. Moving on. Lydia has another question. Lydia is asking, will you teach how to create networks with vendors and operate a profitable business?
Here we'll be able to guide you on how do you actually, prepare a list of different materials, finishes, and furniture, all the things that you're going to incorporate in your design, which will actually help you go in the market. And we also give you certain like we give you certain research to also do, like, okay, go and have that market study, do that market study, and we'll be studying that together, or we'll be discussing that together as a class. So that will help you. How do you actually go with that approach of understanding that what is in the market, what is in trends, and how do you actually find the exact vendor? Yeah, so that's something that we cover.
We have another question. Somebody is asking, what is considered a decent amount of experience in this field? Yeah. What I think the context is lost a little bit in this one. If you're asking about the experience to get into the course, then I think you do not require any experience. But if this question is regarding to be operating into the industry of interior design, would you want to comment on that, Tavleen?
So I think even if, like, whatever experience that you have, like, if some, so here how we function is that uh, again, I am also going to consider this as, they want to learn from this and then take their journey forward. So if you're starting from the very scratch and you have not worked on, you have no idea about the industry, then you can start. And even if we help you actually collate your projects together, and that will help you go to your clients also and fetch you a project. But any experience is something which will just add on. So I think there's no such answer that how much experience is required to be a good interior designer. If this is what the question is, then I think I cannot comment on that how much is required. But yeah, if you're asking this, that how much experience is required to start your own firm, then it's not like, of course, you can start from here, you can start your journey and then move ahead and find your own clients also. If you want to add something to this, Shubhangi or Chirag sir.
No, I think you said it correctly. Tavleen, Ekta is saying, how would you help with placement opportunities? She faced difficulty in the past when she was applying for design jobs. Chirag sir, would you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so just picking up on that, as well as a little note to add to Tavleen's answer for the previous question, and in fact, something struck me about the earlier question about starting your own business. So there, I have a sort of an answer that might address all three. So the way our career services division works is that there will be the placement process begins with a one-on-one session with the head of the career services division. In to be honest, a lot of our interior design cohort is typically looking to start their own thing or freelance, etc. But even with that process, having a conversation with the career services division head helps. because your tailored situation, background, expectations, aspirations become clear to the career services team, and then they can try and find opportunities for you to take up projects wherever you're based. Because considering we teach online, our students are all over the country, so they can try and find opportunities. And this is on a best effort basis. It's a placement support program, not a job guarantee program, but they're happy to try and help you with some sort of projects, etc., which also give you a leg up if you're trying to then start your own practice afterwards. So that is the bit that we can help you with if you're trying to start your own practice, as well as look for a placement opportunity.
Okay, wonderful. We have another question. Abir is asking, do you require any drawing instruments for the classes, for interior design classes?
Paper and a pencil. I think that's simple.
I think gone are the days of drafting. Yeah. Okay. If we have any more questions, I request the audience to put them in now in the Q&A box. Let's wait for 2 minutes and see if we have any more questions. Meanwhile, I would like to mention that we are currently also running a scholarship. So if you're wanting to apply, then now is the right time to be doing that. Okay, we have another question. Mehak is asking, what are the eligibility criteria to enter for a PG diploma course? I am still in my final year. Mehak, we only offer a certificate and a diploma. And the eligibility criteria for that would be high school graduate and the understanding of the language of English, written and spoken. So yeah. That's it, I think.
Since a lot of the questions seem to be about jobs, placements, starting your own practice, I just struck me there's a number of our alums who are doing that, right, in their post-course interior design journey. Shafi and
Yes.
Pawan Jyot and something like that.
Yes, we did. I think I'll just go back to that screen also.
You mentioned that slide, yeah.
Yes. So we do have people who have started their own firms or they're working with some clients. So they have all been associated with us in the previous batches.
Mehak has one more question. She's asking she can join the course along with my final year. Tavleen, do you think that is doable?
So I think if you can find out time, because this is not just a hobby course you're enrolling yourself in, it will require a lot of inputs from your side. We will give you a lot of homework. So if you think you can manage both the things, then of course you can come in. And we had, as I mentioned, Tushar was one of the, students who had done it. So we have people who have done it, but don't come with this. You don't think that you will not be given anything after the sessions. It's not just 2 sessions per week. It is more than that. So you have to invest in a lot of time.
Thank you for that, Tavleen.
Just want to add that, I think the fact that there are courses are part-time, there is that there are both aspects to that. So it allows you to do it alongside whatever else you're doing, whether you're studying full-time at a college or pursuing a degree course or working full-time. But for a part-time course, the sort of structural beauty and USP of the AND course is its depth. So you must be sure that you take out that time for classes as well as for self-study.
Okay. I think we've reached the end of this webinar. If we have any more questions, this is the last call. Thank you, Tavleen. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. It's always, I always have a good time whenever I look at student work. Thank you, Chirag sir, for joining for the Q&A. Thank you for all the people who have stuck around till the end of this webinar. I hope you got something, I hope you got to learn something new and you had fun while we were doing that. That's it from our end, and bye-bye and good night. Bye.